So Chris Gardner walks into this New York stockbroker firm every morning. He's wearing the same suit. The only thing that stood out about him was this incredible work ethic. Yet as he worked amongst these hundreds of masters of the universe, after work it was very different. Because after work he would get his toddler son and they would sleep in shelters, church basements, or sometimes locked inside a subway station bathroom. He wasn't a stockbroker. He wasn't successful. He was pretending, but not in a dishonest way. He was showing up as if he belonged in a world, and what happened next changed his life forever. I'm Michael Dawson, the author of Quit Your Diet, Think to Shrink, and if you're done with yo-yo diets, meal plans, calorie counters, then you're in the right place, because I'm here to help you develop a 14-day plan to quitting your diets forever. And you can find out more at actionfactorypublishing.com, where lifetime membership is currently free and it gives access to all the downloads, files and PDFs. I also have a quick 12-question fun quiz around here somewhere to help you in determining your level of weight problem and so your level of change, along with all the attached freebies that includes a few chapters from my book. So all that is at actionfactorypublishing.com. During this little series of episodes, we've been talking about my 7 assumptions, and we all know that we treat someone differently depending upon assumptions we make about them. And that's why I've got this list of assumptions that I make about all of my clients in my therapeutic work. I'd make them about you, and more importantly, I'm suggesting you make them about yourself. So there's a PDF download in the members area, and you can skip to the first episode in this playlist for a broader explanation of how and why we're talking about assumption. So today I'm talking about you can pretend you can. The story I told at the beginning of this episode is a true story. Chris Gardner was not a stockbroker, but by pretending to himself that he was, by acting in that world, he eventually became what he pretended to be. Chris Gardner was the only intern that was actually offered a full-time job. He later founded his own brokerage firm called Gardner Rich & Co., and he eventually sold part of it in a multi-million-dollar deal. And today, he's a philanthropist, speaker, and author. I think this is a dramatic example of you can pretend you can. If we can pretend, then we can become. It doesn't have to be about selling multi-million-dollar trading firm. It's about everything, because at some point we all have pretended or tried something, only for it to become embedded into our personality and it becomes us. On a personal level, I'm a cyclist. I love cycling, but I didn't wake up one morning with a passion for cycling. I got on a bike, I tried it, and I kind of enjoyed it and tried it again and did some more and bought a bike and that. So we've all been taught that beliefs precede action. But first we develop these convictions and passions, and then we take the action accordingly. And this seems to make sense. After all, how can you act with a conviction if you don't believe in what you're doing? Yet, psychologically, it looks like it's the opposite way around. In many cases, our actions precede and shape our beliefs. We try something new, we observe ourselves doing it, and gradually incorporate that behavior into our sense of our own identity. The person who reluctantly attends a yoga class and eventually comes to see themselves as someone who does yoga, they're not following a pre-existing belief. They're creating a new one through the action of doing it. So this challenges conventional wisdom about personal change. We often think we need to change our mindset first, build confidence before we speak up, feel motivated before we exercise, believe in our abilities before taking on challenges. But waiting for the right feelings or beliefs can keep us stuck in this perpetual preparation, never actually beginning this journey. What if instead we started the behavior? What if confidence, motivation, and belief could be outcomes of action rather than prerequisites? So this is the promise of the kind of behavior before belief approach. By changing what we do, we can change who we believe ourselves to be. So there was some really interesting work done by a psychologist called Daryl Bem, and he proposes this radical idea. What if we don't have any kind of privileged access to our own attitudes and emotions? What if instead we kind of get to know ourselves in the same way we get to know others, by observing their behavior? Well, that's kind of incredible now, because it kind of suggests that we're looking at our behavior to determine what kind of person we actually are. And so we judge everything from that point. If you think about a time when your actions shaped how you saw yourself, maybe you helped someone in need and you started to think of yourself as more compassionate than you'd originally believed, or maybe you persisted through a difficult task and discovered a resilience you didn't know that you possessed. These moments of self-discovery through action are self-perception theory at work. And what makes this theory so powerful is its implications for change. Because if we form beliefs by observing our own behavior, then surely changing our behavior can change our beliefs. It's kind of like being on your best behavior for yourself, to give the best impression to yourself by what you do. We don't have to feel like a confident person to act confident, and we don't need to believe we're athletic to go to the gym. The action comes first and the belief will follow. Fake it till you make it's become a bit of a cliche, but beneath this kind of phrase lies a psychological truth. When we act as if we already possess certain qualities or emotions, these states often become real. Example, force a smile even when you're feeling down and your mood will lift. And this happens because your brain interprets the physical act of smiling as evidence that you must be happy, and it adjusts your emotional state accordingly. A psychotherapist called Daniel Fryer said, your mind actively monitors your behavior to determine your mood. And so if you're feeling sad and you force a smile, your mind will conclude you can't be that sad after all, and will order the release of those happy hormones. This extends way beyond kind of facial expressions and posture and movement. You know, if you look at Amy Cuddy's research in the power posing, which is standing strong and confident, doing this for 60, 70, 80 seconds before going in a meeting has a huge effect on your physiological state. And entering with your shoulders back, your head high, it doesn't just protect confidence, it generates it. Your body isn't just expressing your mental state, it's helping you create it. As neuroscientist Nathan Michael said, free will exists as a flexible, trainable capacity. Every decision shapes the brain and future behavior. Through daily habits, relationships, awareness, we can influence how we decide, and in doing so, shape who we become. This explains why acting as if is so powerful, because each time you act in a certain way, it's as if your mind is watching in the background and going, I'm that kind of person. Your brain can't distinguish between fake confidence and real confidence. It simply strengthens those neural pathways with whatever behaviors you practice. Most people approach their personal change from the outside in, and the focus on outcomes like losing weight, saving money, or processes, go to the gym, follow a budget, without addressing the underlying identity that drives that behavior. So if you refer to James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he proposes a very different approach, and one that works inside out. So he identifies 3 layers of behavior change. Number 1, outcomes. This is what you get. I lost weight. Number 2, processes. This is about what you do. Well, I go to the gym and I eat well. Next one is identity. That's about what you believe. I am a healthy person who never misses a workout. So most change efforts focus on the outer layers, that is outcome and process, okay? But without addressing the core identity. And this is why so many New Year's resolutions fail, because they're outcome-based, lose 20 pounds, or they are process-based, go to the gym 3 times a week, without that deeper sense of who you are. And he argues that the lasting change requires working from the inside out, starting with identity. But here's where the behavior before belief principle comes in. You don't have to wait for your identity to change before changing your behavior. Instead, you can use behavior to reshape the identity. Every single time you force yourself to make a decision, you tell yourself that you are a more determined person, you are more committed. Those one times when you don't want to go to the gym or go for that walk are those times you absolutely should, rather than all the others. So this approach is pretty simple. You decide what kind of person you want to be, and you prove it to yourself by doing those kinds of things. So if you want to be a reader, you don't start by setting a goal to read 30 books this year. You start by becoming the type of person who reads every day, even if it's just one page. Want to become more creative? You don't need to produce a masterpiece. Focus on becoming the kind of person who just creates something, however small, every day. How does this apply to me and my clients and to you in your self-talk? Here's some ideas and steps about being it now. Start with small, consistent actions that align with your desired destiny. You don't need to transform overnight. If you want to become a writer, write a paragraph a day. If you want to become more active, take a 5-minute walk and make a commitment and prove to yourself that that's what you're going to do. Create environmental cues that trigger these identity behaviors, running shoes by the door if you want to become a runner, keeping a journal on your nightstand if you want to become a writer, and so on and so on. Surround yourself with people who reinforce your new identity. We often adopt behaviors and beliefs of those people around us. So spend time with people who already embody the identity you want to develop. My name is Mike Dawson. I'm the author of Quit Your Diet, Think to Shrink, and I'm here to help you develop a 14-day plan to quitting diets forever and gain freedom from all the diet paraphernalia and the problem-focused diet culture. Now, if you'd like to join us on this journey, then membership on my website is free right now, and it always will be if you've signed up this week. And that gives you access to free chapters, tools, downloads, electronic aids to help you in this journey. There's also a 12-question quiz around here somewhere that will help you determine your weight problem level on the pyramid of change, and this will entitle you personal download to help you with that particular level. Thank you so much for being there. I post episodes twice a week, so I'll be back very, very soon. I might make your acquaintance at one of our live coffee mornings in the near future. I hope so. My name is Mike Dawson, author of Quit Your Diet, Think to Shrink, and I'm going to see you in the next video.